Man, it's an honor today to be hanging out with Eric. Eric, you and I, it's been a while being my purpose coach. It's been pretty cool to have you in Austin, Texas, to be able to visit with you and kind of hear about. I want everybody to kind of understand too what you do. I mean, you're the head coach at the Purpose Company. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's great. No, it's great to be here in Austin, and being from Minnesota, it's good to warm up every once in a while. But yeah, it's being a head coach is something else. It's an honor to do that. But just being a coach in general, right? And everything, I look at every opportunity as any communication really to be an opportunity to inspire others. And I think that's really what coaches do, is they help inspire, but they also help hold accountable and help people get traction and move forward, right? And not stay stagnant where they're at. But yeah, I'm honored to be the head coach of the Purpose Company, Brian and Gabrielle Boucher, the founders of the Purpose Company. And when we talk about purpose, I think people take it for granted at times, right? Like,
Absolutely.
or they even say, like, I don't even know what my purpose is. And oftentimes I think people are mistaken that they think purpose is something they do, but in fact it's not. It's the best of what we have to give others. And so when
awesome.
I discovered that really was amazing. But yeah, it's an honor to be here.
Too, and you and I talked about this before. Purpose is used such in a we talk about we have our purpose or we need our purpose, but the Purpose Company, you guys really dive into it. I know with you and Brian and Gab, y'all have really come up with some great ways to dive into your purpose. And let me tell you, when people find their purpose, you've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
It changes some results, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I've had, grown men all the way up to age 75 crying on my calls because they finally realize it. And the one thing we've discovered in the research we found is that the number one regret people have when they go to their deathbed is that they didn't know their purpose. They didn't know their why. And they just strolled through life and just did what they were told to do or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we dive deep into it, and we really have redefined the word purpose as the best of what you have to give others. And so when you think of that, we look at everything around us. Everything has a purpose, right? But if you look at it from the lens of everything has the best of what it has to give others, and when we look at that from that lens, it can change everything, and we don't necessarily take it for granted.
Yeah, that's awesome. From my approach as a no option approach, that's kind of the thing I go around and I speak on, and is my passion, right? And my purpose, and really talking about overcoming adversity, and I know you've overcome some adversity to get to where you're at. Now you're coaching hundreds of people to really find their purpose. Tell me some of the adversity you went through to get there.
Yeah, oh man, it's a crazy story, but I was in the automotive world for 24 years, and I really thought that was my place. That's where I was going to lay my head, and that was my retirement. And because I grew from a salesperson and worked my way up the ladder to become a managing business partner in 3 franchise dealerships. So I went through plenty of adversity there too, right?
Sure.
60, 70 hours a week and the grind and missing my kids' sports and doing all that. But it certainly afforded me a lot of great things too. It afforded me the lessons that I learned from that, from work ethic to digging in deep to learning to get better at everything. Really taught me a growth mindset, and it really helped me. And I didn't really come from money either. And when I got asked to buy into those stores, I was like, I wasn't sure I was going to work, and some limiting beliefs, like maybe it won't work, but it did work, and it worked out well. But then 24 years into it, I had a lot of life changes, a lot of things that I went through, and I think we all kind of go through those. But when I went through some of that, I really discovered that there was more to life than a car dealership. And it took me a long time. I'll never forget times that my father, I had thought about leaving, wasn't sure what I was going to do. And I remember my father saying to me, "Why would you ever leave? That'd be stupid. You make more money than God." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess you're right." And I'd stay. But what I found out was I was feeling not as fulfilled. I was feeling like I'm not just getting anything out of it. I got to the top, right? I chased the title, I chased the money, and I think often we think that's what our purpose is, to go get that and get this job and be successful and be all that. But I think we got to redefine success a little bit.
Yeah.
And
so once you got to the top, though, like you said, you realized it's not what it's all cracked up to be, right? There's so much more, in us finding the purpose. And you guys have really come up with a tool
Yeah.
to find that. Talk a little bit about that, if you will.
Yeah, and so I think that's cool. And when I go back to that a little bit, because I think I had no options too. When I came to that point when I realized that I wasn't giving as much to my people, I was more scared to stay than go. I felt there was no option other than for me to leave. And then leave, not having anything to back me up at age 48, not knowing what I'm going to do, no college education, and leaving with nothing to back me up, no job, no nothing. I left.
Wow.
And but I had no option to not leave. That was it. There was no option to stay. I mean, there was no option to stay. I really had to go. And it was the best thing ever because I found Brian and Gab through Facebook, and I had an idea and a thought, and they helped me with that. And then shortly after being with them, I realized, man, that's what I want to do. That's really cool. I wonder what that looks like. And I just kind of really helped people out. That was just who I was. I just loved helping people out. Little did I realize it was truly my purpose. It was the best of what I had to give others. And I started seeing that shine more and more. And lo and behold, they recruited me out of the client base and said, we'd love to have you on our team. And it's just grown from there. And now running all of our programs and talking about the purpose assessment, which we just released in November. Although the methodology has been around for 5 years, 5 to 8 years, Brian and Gab's book, The Purpose Factor, it just really, it's a life-changing thing. The purpose assessment will, in 20 minutes, will spit out your purpose and will give you direction and will give you more clarity and confidence than you've ever had before.
Well, and I can tell you personally, I've taken it. It's amazing. It's an amazing tool that you guys have developed. And when I say y'all developed it, Brian spent a lot of time. This wasn't something that just was developed over a night or two. This was years, right?
Yes, years and years, and 9, 10, 11 years. He was asked one time, well, like, what's your purpose? And he didn't even know. And then he started thinking, if I don't know, how many other people don't know? But how do you do it? And he just started digging in and doing research and asking people and interviewing people and doing all kinds of things. And he finally came up with it, and he found out this methodology. And when he did, and he started talking to people about it, and they started looking into it, it was life-changing. And it brought him a ton of fulfillment. And that's when he realized, when you give your purpose, you get the best that life has to offer, which is fulfillment.
That's awesome.
That's what we want to do now, is we want to help others step into their fulfillment by living on their purpose.
And, you talk about purpose. And, and for me, you guys really helped me find that, too. I mean, with the no option approach that I take, right? And thank you for mentioning no options, because I love those words.
Yeah.
Because, think about it sometimes. What if we just looked at things as if we had no options but to leave a job that has been secure, safe and sound for you? But you know what? Sometimes we got to leave our comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
To really go after some dream. And you and I talked about this earlier. We can focus on our goal, or we can focus on the things that's between us and our goal.
That's right.
And I think, with the no option approach, finding your purpose, as you guys do, helps anyone. And it don't matter what walk of life you're in. If you find your purpose, it'll help you in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
And, we talked about the mindset too. You talk about the power of the mind, right? I mean, and you were talking earlier about that. And sometimes just us finding the purpose helps you with our mindsets, where we're going, whether it be with your career, whether it be with your relationships in life, right? Whatever that may be. But there's a lot that can do, that goes on behind that. Now, if people are looking to get involved and really want to dive into their purpose, how do they find you?
Yeah, they can find me on LinkedIn. Just look up Eric Mech, MECH. Or you can email me at eric@purposecompany.co. So it is .co, not .com.
Yep.
But you can always call me too on my number. But you can reach out to you, and then they can reach out to me, and I'd love to just talk them through it.
Well, Eric, man, it's been an honor, man. I appreciate you, and I'm glad we're sitting outside in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
And you got out of Minnesota weather for a little bit.
Yeah, it is.
Well, thanks
great.
again, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you.